Cassante is, well, he's a lot, but my god is he strong, having to go through a rework just a year after he was released. So why would you want to play him? Well, he is extremely tanky, very versatile in any team, and can offer great displacement and solo opportunities. However, there are some downsides. He can be difficult to master, lacks a bit of damage without his ult, and no hard CC. So let's just get into the meat and potatoes, and let's look at those abilities. His passive is Dauntless Instinct. This will let you deal bonus percent health damage as physical damage to any champion you mark by hitting them with your abilities. His Q is Ntofo Strikes. This will slam the ground in front of you with those Ntofos and deal damage. After 2 hits, you now charge up an Earthquake, and when you hit it again, you fire in a target direction. Any champion you'll hit will be knocked towards you, and you can give them a nice old Dauntless Hug. His W is Pathmaker. He puts up those dukes charging up and makes himself immune to any CC. Then after a second, or 1.5 seconds if you charge it up, you can dash in target direction, taking enemy champion with you. His E is Footwork. Is that really the best Riot could come up with? Oh well, this will dash you in the target direction and you gain a shield. If there is an allied champion nearby, that will double your dash range, and when you reach them, they'll get a shield as well. His R is All Out. This will root the enemy champion for 0.5 seconds while even the game tries to figure out what you're doing. Then you'll knock him back and Cassante will blink to the end location of your ult, dealing magic damage and appearing behind that champion. When you're in All Out, your max HP is reduced to 65% of your normal max HP. Your armor and magic resist are reduced by 85%, and it's basically converted into a ton of AD. It's not 1-for-1, but that's the best way to explain it. And you also gain attack speed, Omni Vamp, and this will augment your other abilities, so let's look back at those. His passive is now True Damage. The percent health damage is increased by a certain percentage based on your ult level, and is converted into true damage. His Q is now Faster Strikes. The cooldown is reduced, and the cast time is reduced by 0.08 seconds, which I guess kind of makes a difference, but you know. His W is now a Lunging Strike. You get increased damage resistant when channeling, decreased charge time, and total cooldown reductions, with the cooldown also being refreshed after you ult. His W is now Fancy Footwork. The dash speed and range of the dash are increased, and you also still get your shield. Lastly, your All Out will last 20 seconds once you cast it, but you can recast it at any time and it'll take you out of the ult. Woo, that was a lot, but at least the other aspects of them don't really change, so let's take a look at those runes. I'm really going to be quick on this. All Resolve Tree runes work on them. However, you generally want to take Grasp the Undying for the increased percent health damage and healing, Demolish just because it's so good, Second Wind for that lane sustain, and Overgrowth for more health. You can also take Unflinching if you know the enemy team has a lot of CC. For a secondary tree, you can take Precision or Inspiration. I like Precision for Tenacity and Last Stand because it's basically always on when you ult. Now let's take a look at those items. First up, you want to take Iceborne Gauntlet. It's simply amazing because you cast a ton of abilities, and then once you start hitting them, they'll never get away. Then just build tanky. You can survive when you're regular, and it converts it into damage when you're in All Out. Last up, take Deeply in Flash. If you're liking the video, please like, comment, and subscribe. It really does help. Alright, now most of his actual combos are better paired with your ult, so we'll wait a bit on those. So you do have mana, but you never really run low on it, so in lane, spamming Q is the key to success. Land Q, auto enemy, graph stack, profit. The best way to engage on the enemy is with your Q3, so use that Q to farm, then eventually you can knock the enemy towards you for an easy auto for a great way for a trade. If you think you can get going, then dash into them, or if you think you'll lose out, then dash away. Honestly, I found that playing pretty safe in the lane, at least until you hit level 6, is the way to go. If your enemy has a chance to engage on you, then remember to abuse your W immunity to protect you from any sort of CC coming your way. Now in lane, besides like your Q3 thing, you do have a couple of trade combos. Easiest out of all of them is just EQ auto. That's it. It's just to give you a little bit of extra range so you can get that Q damage. If the enemy is pushing into you, then you can try and combo to push them under tower. You can knock them up with your Q3, dash or flash behind them, then W to push them under your tower. This can help you get 1 to 2 turret shots on them, or at least get some free damage that they can't return without the threat of the tower. Now this can further be enhanced by your ultimate to keep them locked down for the highest damage possible. Now don't be afraid to limit test a little when you're starting to learn them. It just really helps you learn what you usually can and can't do. You can't go 8-0 without going 0-8. You know what I'm saying? But when you do have your ult up, that's when it opens up more of your combos. If you do have the Q3 up, you can hit them with that, E in the direction away from the wall, then you can use W to push them close to your wall, Alt, then Q, auto, W, auto, Q, auto, E, auto, blah, blah, blah. You just really continue to spam your abilities with trying to get an auto attack in between all of them for the maximum amount of damage. From there, you just get kills, get plates, win lane. Now it's time to look at that mid game. In the mid game, you want to do a mix of roaming and side laning. When you have TP up, you can be in the opposite lane to bring some pressure, then TP to the fight when it begins. That should give you a 4v5 advantage at least until the enemy TP's on, if they have TP. During the team fights, if the enemy has one big damage dealer in the fight, you can try and isolate them with your ult for a 1v1. There might be some times where they end up killing you, but if that person is out of the fight and your team wins the objective and the fight, that is worth it. If not, just try and peel for your carry. I would say sometimes it isn't right to ult, especially if it means you end up in the middle of the enemy team with no armor or magic resist. I guess if sometimes you know you're that far ahead and you're just gonna outright 1v5 their team, then maybe just do it in those situations, but sometimes that just doesn't happen. From there, you just press your lanes when you have a chance, look for picks with your ult, and be there for fights. And that's it. We did it! We won the game. And if you enjoyed this, check out Caitlyn as she takes her schoolgirl kink through the rift. Talk to you later.